How's it going, fellow Yu-Gi-Oh fans? I am the one and only Glenguin. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an updated deck profile for my Mekk-Knight Invoked, but this time we're actually playing Shaddoll Mekk-Knight Invoked. So the good thing about this deck is, on playtesting and been playing it for the past couple of weeks now, this is definitely one of my favourite decks to ever play. Like, once I put this deck together and I started picking it up and learning how to play with it, it's absolutely fantastic. I can't complain. It really does stand up against the current meta at the moment also. It's really good against combo decks also, like Rocket Guard Dragon, Crusader Guard Dragon, anything that has a big board that you need to break. This deck can actually break it because it does have a lot of extenders in the deck. We are running in our side deck Dark Ruler No More, which is one of the best cards I've ever played in my life. When you play that against a combo deck, you slam that down and your opponent can't activate their monster effects for the rest of the turn. You can freely play Yu-Gi-Oh, so it feels very nice. It's a breath of fresh air. So let's get straight into the deck profile. Please smash that like button if you do enjoy my content and want to subscribe for more epic Yu-Gi-Oh contents. But here we go, we're going to get straight into it with the big boy himself. He is Alistair the Invoker. He starts off your combo plays when he is normal summoned or flip summoned. I don't think you'll ever flip summon him in your life. When he is normal summoned, you can actually add an invocation from your deck to your hand. Great combo starter. It's always nice to have Called by the Grave in your hand to stop those combo pieces, to stop cards like Ash Blossom going off, to stop all the hand traps going off. So this is why we play Alistair the Invoker, to add the invocation. Then we're going straight into our Mekk-Knight plays. We are playing a triple Purple Nightfall. Not much has changed on the Mekk-Knight side of things. Obviously this is really good for column play, so when you do special summon to the same column, you can activate this effect. It's a quick effect. You contribute this monster, you contribute any of your Mekk-Knight monsters, and basically they get banished until your next standby phase when they come back out for a special summon. But Nightfall is really good because you can actually add a Mekk-Knight monster from your deck to your hand. Preferably if there's two cards in the same column in your opponent's side of the field. Mostly it's going to be Blue Sky, which we are playing at 2 right now. So the reason why we are playing him at 2, obviously you don't want to brick with the Mekk-Knights. I mean, you never really brick with the Mekk-Knights if you've got column plays. You can always set your spells and traps that can go off, especially your spell cards. Like if you draw into Invocation, you can set Invocation in the same column if your opponent has a card in the same column, and then you can special summon your Mekk-Knight monsters anyway. I'm sure everyone knows how this deck works by now, but when this card is normal special summon from the hand, you can actually add as many Mekk-Knights with different names from your deck to your hand equal to the number of cards your opponent controls in the same column, meaning we can bring cards like double Indigo Eclipse. And I say double Indigo, I mean you can only bring the one Indigo, obviously. This card can actually change columns for your Mekk-Knight monsters, so you can bring out more Mekk-Knight monsters. So if you do bring out Indigo Eclipse, you can use its effect on itself, changing the column, and then you can bring out other Mekk-Knight monsters from your hand if you have bricked with them, especially Red Moon and Yellow Star. Red Moon, if it's in the same column, you can banish one Mekk-Knight monster from your graveyard, target one face-up monster in the card's column and destroy it. Yellow Star will destroy a spell and trap in the same column. So they're all fantastic cards. I love that they're level 7 or 8, so you can actually play cards like Blackluster Soldier of Chaos from your extra deck also. You can spam out so many monsters on the board also to go into your link plays, to go into your fusion plays. This deck has so much synergy and consistency. Yes, it's not a tier 1 deck, we haven't seen much from it, but I really do feel like it's just a fun deck to play. Just try it out. I'm going to be going to my local tournaments to play this deck a lot more, so hopefully you boys and girls will actually get on board with this. Use this deck as a preference and a guideline to how you would like to play it also, as I always say in my videos. Then we are playing the 1 Nightmaker up to Ibli. The reason why we're only playing it at 1 is because I've bumped certain Shaddoll cards around. Most people would play this at 2, but if you're forced to go first and you have Ibli in your first hand and you don't have an Alistair, it's a really good play, especially when you're using the columns and you're special summoning this card to your opponent's side of the field. You can use this card with Link Disciple in your extra deck also. Now, a lot of people will question why I am running 2 Gameciel, so I'll just overlay that right there. So the reason why we're running 2 Gameciel in the deck, I mean, I haven't seen any builds that are running 2 Gameciel. Okay, we are a going second deck. Sometimes we do play blind going second, so we always run going second. You'll never want to go first in this deck ever, but unless you're siding, you just know that your opponent wants to go first on, is going to force you to go first, so you can always side out the appropriate cards. The reason why we're playing Gameciel, first of all, we have monsters in the deck that can get over Gameciel. This gets over any problematic monster when you tribute off your opponent's monster. If you haven't seen Dark Ruler no more at that moment, or if you haven't seen a Ra Sphere mode, which is in the side deck also, it's always nice to go into this card, tribute off your opponent's monster. You can attack over it with cards like Macabre, Boral Sword, anything can really get over this in your deck. You have Alistair the Invoker's a special ability in hand to bump up an invoked fusion monster by 1000 attack and defense also, so you can always get over this card. The other reason why we play it is for cards like Invoked Cocytus, which is a water fusion monster. So if you're going into Invocation, you can usually use this card to banish it from the graveyard because it is a water monster. So that is the reason why we run it. And we're going into our Shaddoll plays now. So Trick Clown's really good. I hate seeing this card in my opening hand. It is a heavy, horrible brick. You never want to normal summon it either, but it can be, you can unbrick yourself from your hand to send this to the graveyard, and when it is sent to the graveyard you can special summon it. Yeah, its attack and defense becomes 0, and you do pay 1000 life points, but it really does help with the extension of the deck. Next up we are playing the 1 Shaddoll Dragon, fantastic card, the 1 Shaddoll Beast, and the 1 Falco. All of them come with added effects when they are used with Shaddoll Fusion, because you're sending them to grave. So Shaddoll Beast will draw 1 card, Shaddoll Falco will special summon itself in face down defense position, and Shaddoll Dragon will destroy a spell and trap on the field for free. Obviously you want to go into cards like El Shaddoll Construct or El Shaddoll Winder, which is why we are playing this many, because sometimes I brick off of Desires, or sometimes I will lose 1 or 2 of them, so I've bumped up to a 3 Shaddoll engine. Hand traps, I'm not changing the Gamma or the Driver for anything. I love the 3 Gammas and the Driver, especially when you see this in your opening hand, your opponent's going to be comboing off. You can just slap Gamma down, slap the Driver down, fantastic card. Also when you're playing Psyframe Lord Lambda, really good when you can actually banish these, and then you can actually bring 1 Gamma to your hand off of it. It's fantastic play. That's all the monsters. So now we're going to be going into the spell cards. So not much has really changed on the forefront of the spell cards. Magical Meltdown, really good combo starter. Add your Alistair Invoker. And obviously we're running basically 4 Magical Meltdowns with the Terraforming added to that mix. So that is why we are running that. And also, obviously your opponent cannot stop any fusion summons, so that's also really good about Magical Meltdown. They'll probably want to MST the Magical Meltdown if anything. And then we are running the 2 Invocations. I always brick if I run 3, so I always just play the 2. Really good if you want to use, if you don't even have Shaddoll Fusion, you can always use that with your Shaddoll monsters. So that's a really good play also. Invocation's really good for fusion summoning. If you want to OTK, especially with Macabre on field, you can basically use Book of the Law. This can be brought from Alistair the Invoker of Madness. If you fusion summon to the link zone it points to, you discard a card, you can add Book of the Law or Invocation from your deck to your hand. Book of the Law is really good during battle phase also, so it can always add that extra damage should you need it. Then we are running more fusion plays with the Shaddoll Fusions, fantastic card. If you control less monsters than your opponent does, you can use cards from your deck, which is what you want to be doing most of the time, especially with Shaddoll Beast, Trick Clown if you want to bring Construct out, or if it's any other dark monster to bring out Winder. You can also use cards like Instant Fusion. The reason why we run Instant Fusion is for cards like Millennium Eyes Restrict. It's really good for baiting your opponent out, using it as link materials. You can go into Invoked Raging to flip a monster face down if it's problematic on the field. You can go into cards like El Shaddoll Winder also off of Instant Fusion. So that is why we are running all those fusion cards in the deck to help us out. We're running the 2 Desires. A lot lately, I find myself struggling with this card. Okay, it's like Marmite to me. You either love it or you hate it. At the moment, I'm starting to hate it, but we need the consistency in our deck. We are using our extra deck, so we cannot play cards like Pot of Extravagance. This is actually the budget option anyway to play Pot of Desires, and you're vanishing 10 to draw 2. And if someone's going to Ash Blossom you, then you always have cards like Called by the Grave. I only run 2 because I'm the only person in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the TCG that will tell you that I brick with this card. I brick if I find this card, because I sometimes draw the 2. I don't know what's wrong with my shuffles, boys and girls. I always just draw 2, and sometimes it's not helpful. But if you want to use it as column play, then you can. You can set it, and then obviously on your next turn that you can go off of it. And then last but not least, for Mekk-Knight and the Morning Star, we always run World Legacy Succession if we haven't seen it already, and we always run one World Legacy Secret. But a good thing about these two is because it can be brought out from your deck to your hand off of Mekk-Knight or the Morningstar, all you have to do is discard one Mekk-Knight monster. You can bring either of these two cards from your deck to your hand, and then you can go off by extending from there. I always bring the Succession out more just in case. Unless I have Macabre on field and I know my opponent is playing trap heavy deck, then I'm always going to be bringing World Legacy Secret. As for the extra deck, a few changes have been made. So we're playing the one Solomon Great Almirage for your Alistair the Invoker. We're also playing the one Link Disciple for our Nightmare Corruptor Ibli play. So when you normal summon the Ibli, you can always link off into the Disciple. This comes with a really cool effect also. You contribute a monster this card points to, discard, and then draw one card. Not discard. Do not discard. You draw one card. Then we play the one Cyframe Lord Lambda, which I spoke about. So if a psychic monster is basically basic, if you're talking about Cyframe Gear Gamma, which is you special summon it, if you have this card and you special summon it, because you can play Cyframe Lord Lambda with monsters on the field now with this card, so it's a really good extender. And if it is banished, your Cyframe Gear Gamma, then you get to add another Cyframe Gear Gamma from your deck to your hand at the end phase of your turn. Alistair the Invoker of Madness, like I said, discard one card when a monster is fusion summoned to the zone it points to, and you get to add an Invocation or Book of the Law from your deck to your hand. Then we also have the one Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. You can go into this pretty much anytime you want. You're always running level 7 or higher monsters in the deck also, so you can use this card to be... basically, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. When this does destroy an opponent's monster by battle, it does either gain a 1500 attack, it can make a second attack during the battle phase, or it can banish one card on the field, non-targeting. That's always what you want to see in a card. I know it's a little pricey, this card, so you could always swap it out for a Borreload. You know, it's nice and cheap now. Something that will help you get over your opponent's monsters if you need it. And last but not least, for the Link monsters, we are running the one Mekk-Knight of the Morningstar. I did actually want to put this card at 2. I really do like this card. It helps you during battle also if one of your Mekk-Knight monsters is in a different zone to your opponent's monsters, because then you can't be destroyed by battle and you take no damage from attacks involving the cards. So that is my Link monsters of the deck. And then we also have the OTK for Borrelsword. Then we run, basically this is our instant fusion target most of the time. I know a lot of people play Thousand Eyes Restrict to copy your opponent's stuff, but I also like Millennium Eyes Restrict. Again, this isn't a budget option, this is just something I prefer to play, but if you want to play the budget version, you can buy a common of Thousand Eyes Restrict for like £1 or €1 or $1 wherever you are in the world. Millennium Eyes Restrict is like a £15 to £20 card in the UK, so you can always think about running something different. Invoke monsters, we're running 2 Invoke Macabre. You can always bring 2 Invoke Macabres out on the first turn. Once per turn you can use both effects, so it's 1 per Macabre if you need to negate and banish anything. Cocytus, like I said, for Gamma Seal if you need it. 1 Invoked Raging for instant fusion target. Also Invoked Kaliga. You can go into any of these cards anytime. And last but not least, for the Shaddoll plays, we are running the 1 Shaddoll Construct and the 1 Winder. Construct being back at 3 is fantastic, but we're only running it at 1 because we have so many extra deck monsters that we can go into at any time. You can always have this pointing to a Borrelsword if you need it, and if your opponent lets you play that far. But boys and girls, that is my extra deck and my main deck. And then last but not least, personal preference, depending on what you're playing in the current format right now, or at your locals, or any tournaments that you are going to, we are running triple Ra Sphere mode. Reason why we're running that is to break combo boards if we need to. Best card in the deck, hands down, is Dark Ruler No More. Need this card so much. Best card, probably one of the best cards ever printed. Konami made a dumb mistake making this card, but I can't complain about it. I really am so happy that that card is released, because it does really help out if you're playing big monster boards. I mean, probably people are going to use it against my kind of deck, but we can always get over it also. Then we are running double Twin Twisters for back row hate, anything to do with Mystic Mine also. Also we're running triple Red Reboot also for back row hate and Altergeist matchups. And then last but not least, you can side in cards like double Solemn Strike and double Solemn Judgment. So boys and girls, that is my deck profile. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave that like if you did enjoy this deck profile. Please give it a try. You never know, you might actually enjoy it. And smash that subscribe button for more epic Yu-Gi-Oh content, live streams and Let's Play videos on the channel. So have a good day and I'll see you all very soon. Glengwin is signing out.